Saturday was supposed to be a happy day. Megan, my wife's sister, was having her baby shower. Their parents were there, cousins, aunts, all excited about the new baby. The house was decorated perfectly, like something you'd see on Pinterest. Balloons everywhere, a mountain of presents, a giant diaper cake in the middle of the table. I was standing there holding a gift bag with baby clothes I had paid for, feeling pretty good about contributing, when Jasmine leaned toward Megan and whispered something that almost made me drop the bag. "If I had married someone more successful, we'd have a nursery like this too," she said. I froze but kept my face straight. I've learned to stay calm dealing with angry clients, and right now, my wife was basically my most difficult client ever. Megan's eyes shot to me. She knew I heard it, but Jasmine just kept talking like nothing happened. "Look at this place," she said. "This is how I always pictured starting a family. I thought by now we'd be living like this. I settled and now we're stuck with secondhand everything before we even start." That word, settled, hit me like a punch. 15 years of marriage, and I was the man she settled for. Megan tried to hush her, saying she shouldn't say things like that, but Jasmine just shrugged and said, "Why not?" It's true I kept smiling politely, pretending to look at the baby socks on the table, while inside I was realizing my wife didn't respect me at all. The rest of the party felt like a bad dream. People were laughing, playing games, eating cake, and I was just standing there, listening to my wife compliment strangers' outfits, while knowing she had just trashed me to her sister. Then David, her brother-in-law, started talking about his new promotion. He was going on about his raise, the company car, the stock options, and I saw Jasmine's whole face light up. She looked like she had just seen her dream life walk into the room. "That's amazing," she said. "Your family is so lucky to have someone who really provides." The way she said "really" was quiet, but I heard it loud and clear. When the party was finally over, we got in the car, and she spent the whole ride home scrolling through Pinterest and saving photos of expensive nurseries. She didn't say much until we were halfway home. "That was nice," she said casually. "Makes you think about the future." "Yeah," I said, staring at the road. "Makes you think." I didn't ask what future she meant, the one with me or the one where she traded me in for a better model. When we got home, she went straight to bed, said she had a headache. I went to my office, opened up my spreadsheets, and stared at the numbers. The mortgage I never missed, the savings account I had built up, the retirement funds I had maxed out every year, the life insurance policy that would make sure she was fine if anything happened to me. Everything was in order, solid, responsible, and apparently not good enough. That night I made a decision. No yelling, no fight. I wouldn't confront her. I'd just watch. If she wanted to show me who she really was, I'd let her. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. Made coffee, smiled, kissed me on the cheek. "You've been quiet since yesterday," she said. "Just thinking about work," I told her. Which wasn't a lie. I was thinking about a lot of things, including how someone who hasn't worked in 2 years feels qualified to tell me I'm not ambitious enough. She smiled and said, "Don't stress too much. We're doing fine." Fine. That was her public opinion. Yesterday, I heard her real one. Over the next few days, I started noticing everything I had ignored before. How she always found excuses to skip neighborhood events where other wives might ask what she did all day. How her expression turned sour every time I got excited about a work project. Like I was embarrassing her by being proud of my job. How she practically glowed when other people talked about promotions or expensive vacations. Wednesday night, I was reading in the living room while she was in the kitchen on the phone with her old college roommate. Voices carry in our house. "I know, right?" Jasmine said, laughing. "You and David have it all figured out. New house, kids in private school. Meanwhile, I'm here trying to convince myself that being practical is enough." Practical. That's what I had become. "No, he's a good guy," she said. "Stable, reliable. But sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd waited for someone more ambitious." 15 years together, and that's what I was to her. A good guy she settled for, while waiting for something better. Thursday night, we were watching TV when she brought it up again. Megan's nursery probably cost $20,000, she said casually. That's a lot of money for one room, I said. Well, when money isn't an issue, you can go all out. Some people are just in different situations. I kept my eyes on the screen. Different priorities too, I said. Some people like to show off. Some like to have savings. She shifted uncomfortably because she knew I was right. We had savings. We weren't broke. But that didn't fit the story she was telling herself about being trapped in a mediocre life. Friday morning I left for the gym, forgot my water bottle, and came back earlier than usual. I heard her in the kitchen, pacing and talking on the phone. I'm not saying I don't love him, she was saying, but love doesn't pay for the life I want. I refuse to raise kids with limitations. Maybe I should push him more, give him some motivation to step up. Men need that sometimes, right? I stood in the hallway listening. She wasn't talking about fixing the marriage because she loved me. She was talking about manipulating me into becoming the man she wished she had married. That night she was extra nice, made my favorite dinner, asked about my day, suggested we start looking at baby books. Over dessert she said, I've been thinking, maybe we should set bigger goals, career goals, apply for better jobs, take some risks. Interesting timing, I said. What do you mean? She asked. Nothing specific, I said. I just noticed you've been thinking about success a lot lately. She smiled like she hadn't just been caught. I just want us to reach our full potential. Both of us Saturday, she said she was going to Megan's again to help with baby prep. You don't mind staying home, do you? She asked. No, I said. Go ahead. But I wasn't just staying home. I pulled up the phone records for the past few months. There were hundreds of texts between her and Megan, especially on important days. Our anniversary dinner, the surprise weekend trip I planned, the random Tuesday I brought flowers. I didn't know what the messages said, but I had a good guess now. Around noon Sunday, my phone started blowing up. First Linda, her mom, then Mark, her brother, then her cousin, all within 20 minutes. By the third call, I knew something was seriously wrong. Linda's voicemail said, Honey, can you call me back? There's some confusion with messages in the family chat. Family chat? I didn't even know there was a family chat. I was under the sink replacing a faucet when the door flew open. Jasmine came in, face red, phone glued to her ear. Mom, just delete them, she said frantically. They weren't supposed to send. Don't listen to them again. She saw me standing there and froze. Everything okay? I asked. There was a technical issue, she said quickly. My sister's phone glitched and sent some old voice messages to the family group. Nothing important. What kind of messages? She started crying on the spot. They were taken out of context. I was just venting. Everyone vents. My phone rang again. Megan. Grant, I'm so sorry, she said. I was trying to forward baby shower photos to Mom and I accidentally sent Jasmine's voice messages to the family chat. They weren't about photos. They were about you. About your marriage. Forward them to me, I said. Grant, maybe you two should just talk. Forward them, I repeated, calm but firm. Upstairs, I heard the bedroom door slam. 3 minutes later, 7 new voice messages appeared on my phone. I sat at the kitchen table, phone in front of me, and hit play. 7 voice messages. Her voice filled the room like poison in slow motion. I can't take this anymore, Jasmine said in the first one, sitting in this beautiful house, seeing everything they have, then going home to our basic little life. I'm embarrassed to even tell people where we live. The second message was worse. We can't have kids like this. They'll be the poor kids in class, the ones whose dad drives a used car and whose mom shops sales. My jaw clenched, but I kept listening. Third message. I've been thinking about what you said about second chances. I'm 38. It's not like I'm stuck forever. Divorce isn't the end of the world anymore. People start over all the time. Fourth, I gave him 15 years to show ambition. At what point do I stop waiting for him to become the man I need him to be? The fifth one was about kids again. I refuse to have children who have to explain why their family can't afford what other families can. I grew up with money. I can't be the struggling mom. The sixth and seventh messages were the ones that really made everything click. Maybe I can push him, motivate him to step up. Men need pressure sometimes, right? And if that doesn't work, maybe I just leave before we make kids and complicate everything. It has to be clean. No drama, I stared at the table. By the time I finished all 7 messages, I wasn't angry anymore. Just calm, cold. I finally knew exactly who I was married to and how she really saw me. That night, Jasmine stayed upstairs, crying on and off, probably texting Megan nonstop. I stayed in my office, calm as a surgeon, putting together everything I'd learned over the last week. Monday morning, the verdict arrived by text. Robert, her dad, family meeting, tonight, our house, 6 p.m. That wasn't a request, that was a court summons. When I showed Jasmine the text, her face went white. "You don't have to come," she said quickly. "This is between me and my family." "Your dad asked for both of us," I said. She swallowed hard and nodded. The entire day she was in crisis management mode. She was typing and deleting messages, calling her mom, trying to make it sound like she was just venting. At one point she came into my office and tried to talk to me. "Grant, we can work this out," she said softly. "We can go to counseling, set goals, talk things through." "You've been talking plenty," I said. "Just not to me." That shut her down fast. When we got to her parents' house that night, it was full. Not just her mom and dad, but Mark and his wife, Megan and David, even her grandmother Evelyn, who rarely left the house. Everyone was sitting in the living room like a firing squad. 2 chairs waited for us. Robert motioned for us to sit down. Linda spoke first. "I want to be clear. We all heard the messages. More than once. No one here is confused about what was said." Jasmine opened her mouth, but Robert raised a hand. "You'll get your turn," he said. "First, I want to hear from Grant." Every eye turned to me. I took a slow breath. "I don't have much to say," I started. "The messages already said it. But I will say this. Everything Jasmine called inadequate, I've provided proudly for 15 years. The house she's ashamed of, never missed a mortgage payment. The car she calls embarrassing, paid off, reliable, safe. The life she calls limiting, it includes vacations, a stocked pantry, and 0 debt except the mortgage." I looked around the room, at faces I'd known for half my life. What bothers me isn't that she wants more. People want more all the time. What bothers me is that she's been lying to me, and to you, while secretly planning to leave. Evelyn, her grandmother, spoke first. Her voice was sharp. "Is that true? Were you planning to leave him?" "It's complicated," Jasmine said quickly. "No," Robert said. "It's not complicated. We heard you talk about second chances and exit strategies. Were you planning to divorce him? Worse?" "I was just exploring options," she said weakly. "While he was at home fixing your kitchen faucet," Mark said dryly. "Classy." The room went silent. Megan looked mortified. Linda turned to me. "Has she ever told you she was unhappy?" "Never directly," I said. But looking back, there were signs. She'd make little comments about what we could afford. She'd get this look when other people talked about their promotions. "What kind of comments?" Robert asked. I looked right at Jasmine. At Megan's baby shower last week, she told her sister she should have had kids with someone more successful. I was standing right there holding the gift I bought. The room collectively gasped. Evelyn actually whispered, "You said that?" "It wasn't like that," Jasmine started. "How exactly was it?" Robert demanded. "Because it sounds like you publicly humiliated your husband." "I was just frustrated," Jasmine said desperately. "Sometimes I say things I don't mean." "You say things like planning to divorce him and calling your whole marriage a limitation?" Mark shot back. The attacks came from every direction. Evelyn leaned forward, her eyes sharp. "What exactly do you contribute to this marriage that makes you think you deserve better?" "I contribute plenty," Jasmine said defensively. Like what? Evelyn pressed. You don't work. You don't pay bills. You don't even fix things around the house. What do you bring to the table? I manage the household, Jasmine said, voice cracking. Megan actually laughed. You mean you spend his money and complain about not having more? That's not fair, Jasmine said. What's not fair, Robert said, standing now, is that this man worked 15 years to give you a good life and you were secretly planning to leave him for someone with more money. The room erupted. Linda started crying. Mark called her selfish. Even David shook his head. Through it all, I just sat there, calm. For once, it wasn't me defending myself. You want to know what's really disappointing? Robert said finally. It's not that you're unhappy. People get unhappy. It's that you lied. To him, to us, and to yourself about what kind of person you are. Dad, please! Jasmine tried. No, he said, pointing at her. You don't get to talk your way out of this. This man has been nothing but good to you, and you repay him by shopping for his replacement. Linda walked over to me, tears in her eyes. Grant, I owe you an apology. I thought I raised her better. You don't owe me anything, I said. Yes, I do, she said firmly. You deserved better from this family. Jasmine finally broke down completely. I never meant for this to happen. I love him, I do. No, Evelyn said coldly. You love what he provides. You love the stability, but you don't love him enough to respect him. When the meeting ended, it was clear who everyone supported. Not her. The car ride home was brutal. Jasmine cried the entire way, begging me to forgive her, promising she would change, that we could go to counseling. When we pulled into the driveway, I said, Your own family turned against you tonight. They'll forgive me, she said through tears. Maybe, I said, but I won't. Her head snapped toward me. What does that mean? It means this marriage is over, I said. The only question now is how we end it. She sobbed harder. Please, Grant, we can fix this. No, I said calmly. You had 8 months to fix it. All you did was plan your exit. The next morning, I took the day off work. Not to talk, not to reconcile, to handle business. When Jasmine came downstairs, she tried again. I made coffee. We can talk about counseling, about rebuilding. Before we talk about anything, I said, we need to address some practical matters. I put the folder I'd prepared on the table. First, the credit cards. You were an authorized user, not a primary holder. I had you removed this morning. The cards don't work anymore. You can't do that, she said, eyes wide. I already did, I said. I laid out her spending from last month. $200 yoga classes, $350 lunches, $180 Target, $220 Sephora. Nearly $1,000 on things you call necessities. Compare that to my spending, $100, and I'm the one who's not enough. This is cruel, she whispered. No, I said. This is practical. You wanted to see what limitation looks like? Now you'll see I went through everything. Joint accounts emptied, my pay redirected, mortgage in my name only, car insurance, health insurance. Without me, you have no legal claim to this house. You have no income, you have no savings. This is what out looks like. She sat down, shaking. What are you saying? I'm saying you're going to pack a bag and stay with Megan while we sort out the divorce. You're going to get a job because your days of living consequence-free are over. I haven't worked in 2 years. That's your problem, I said. You wanted independence. Congratulations, you're independent now. She tried one more angle. What if I go to therapy? What if I change? Your problem isn't mental health, I said. Your problem is character. Therapy doesn't fix selfishness. She cried harder. Everyone makes mistakes. This wasn't a mistake, I said. It was a plan. And plans have consequences. I handed her a business card. Divorce lawyer. He's expecting your call by evening. She was packing her things. Megan came to pick her up but wouldn't look me in the eye. When the car drove away, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Relief. The house felt different after she left. Quiet, still, and weirdly clean. I sat at the kitchen table that night and finally exhaled. I wasn't angry, just empty. 15 years of work, 15 years of trust, and this is where we ended up. Her at her sister's house. Me staring at an empty chair across the table. I spent the next morning calling a lawyer. We set up a meeting for the following week. I even started making a list of what we'd have to divide. There wasn't much, really, because most of it was mine before the marriage. It felt cold, but also controlled. For the first time, I was steering this ship instead of just patching the leaks. That afternoon, my phone rang. Robert. "Grant," he said, his voice calmer than I expected. "I know you're angry. Frankly, I would be too. But I want to ask you something. I'm listening," I said carefully. "Don't file anything yet," he said. "Give her a chance to fix this. She's been crying all night. I think she finally understands what she's done. She understood enough to plan her exit for months," I said. "I know," Robert said, "and I'm not excusing her. You have every right to leave. But she's still my daughter, and I've never heard her sound like this. I think this might be her wake-up call." I leaned back in the chair. The folder with the divorce papers draft was sitting right in front of me. "She would have to do a lot more than cry to change anything," I said finally. "Then make her prove it," he said. "You're the one with the power now." "Set your terms." I didn't answer right away. He didn't push. "Think about it," he said quietly. "If you still want a divorce in a month, we'll support you. But don't end a marriage without giving her one last chance to fight for it." After the call, I sat in silence for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore him and go through with it, but another part, the one that remembered the girl I married 15 years ago, hesitated. That night I texted Jasmine, "I'm not filing. Yet. If you want to fix this, you move back home. But things will not be the same." She replied almost immediately, "I'll come tomorrow." The next day she came home. No makeup, no perfect outfit, just jeans and a hoodie. She looked small. Not physically, but emotionally. "Thank you," she said quietly when she walked in, "for letting me come back." "This isn't forgiveness," I said. "This is probation. You wanted to see what life without me looked like. Now you know. You want this marriage? Prove it." She nodded. "I will." And to her credit, she meant it. The first thing she did was start looking for a job. Within 2 weeks, she had a part-time position at a small boutique downtown. It wasn't glamorous, minimum wage and long hours, but she took it without complaint. The first week she came home exhausted. "I don't know how you do this every day," she said, kicking off her shoes. "Being on your feet for 8 hours straight and still having energy to cook dinner." I barely made it through my shift. I just nodded. I didn't rub it in. She needed to feel it herself. Slowly, things started changing. She stopped complaining about the house. She stopped comparing me to David. She even started budgeting with me, something she used to roll her eyes at. One night we sat at the kitchen table going through bills together. "You really keep track of everything, don't you?" she said. "Someone had to," I replied. "I never realized how much you handle," she said softly. "I just expected it to get done." "That was the problem," I said. "You expected everything, you didn't appreciate it." "I do now," she said, looking me straight in the eye. "I swear I do." Months passed. Our marriage wasn't magically healed overnight. But we were talking, really talking, for the first time in years. Then one morning she came into the kitchen holding a little plastic stick with wide eyes. "I'm pregnant," she said. I just stared at her for a second, then smiled despite myself. "Seriously?" She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Seriously?" Something shifted in that moment. We weren't just rebuilding a marriage anymore. We were building a future. The pregnancy changed her even more. She kept working at the boutique as long as she could, saying she wanted to help with baby expenses. She went to every appointment, started meal prepping, even got excited about nursery furniture. Nothing crazy, just enough to make the room special. When the baby was born, a healthy little girl, I held her in my arms and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Real, deep peace. A week later, Jasmine sat next to me on the couch while the baby slept. "You didn't have to give me another chance," she said quietly. "No," I agreed. "I didn't." "Thank you for staying," she said, tears in her eyes. I almost threw all of this away because I thought I deserved something better. But I didn't need better. I just needed to see what I already had. I looked at our daughter sleeping peacefully in the bassinet. "You have it now," I said. "Don't forget again." "I won't," she promised. "Today life isn't perfect. It never is. But it's ours. I still handle most of the finances, but now she knows exactly what it takes to keep this family going. She works part-time when she can, and every time she comes home tired, she kisses me and thanks me for everything I do. And every once in a while, she'll stop in the middle of the living room, look around at the house she once called basic, and smile. "This is enough," she'll say. And for the first time in years, I believe her. A lot of people ask why I didn't just go through with the divorce. I had every reason to. The papers were ready, my lawyer was waiting for my call, but when her dad called me and asked to give her one last chance, I realized I still had something left. The ability to make her earn her way back, not with words but with actions. And to my surprise, she did. Over time, her parents noticed the change too. Robert pulled me aside one evening and said, "You were right to make her work for this. She's a better person now." Even Evelyn, who once asked her what she brought to the marriage, now comes over just to hold her granddaughter and smile. When Jasmine told me she was pregnant, I knew I'd made the right call. Not for her, but for me. Because the man who almost walked away is the same man now rocking his baby girl to sleep in a house full of love. We're not perfect, but we're better. She respects me and I respect myself more than I ever have. Sometimes giving someone a second chance is really giving yourself the first one, to stop being taken for granted. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.